Cloak and dagger to high interference line position locations, communication offline rotation when it comes into your computers. It's all about understanding when you get into a black center. Black center line conditions all levels of black hole. Black hole communication interference location news calculation, his system. Rotation interference line conditions. So what am I talking about? Well, it's true to understand that when you set up your computer line interference location, it doesn't have a window interference. That means you're having problems with all levels of connection to your camera. It's all track interference line conditions. You have to really understand how to use your voice grid location use calculation modification cycle. It rotates its locations to its keyboards and all position to its calculation. How to use your computer adaptation cycles to its rotation system. So it's incredible force. In calculation, I just got off TikTok. There's a lot going on right now. Getting a lot of activations and stream centers, the avatar connections. Coming into highline rotations, I'll give you guys 5-10 minutes before we get going. It's true to understand that the avatar streamline center of physical line position location 1% is now in all levels of its future communications, bringing everybody into high system locations, energy lights, proactive systems, calculation, modification circles, rotation interference, energy field, force line connections, high position locations, low division line interference, medium track system. It's all calculated and modified to the avatar. So it's true to understand that the body track interference, the heart line centers, the communication and vibration and all levels of the soul is meeting its requirements. So in calculations, we're in one timeline. Congratulations on the line system. Now in a high rotation, we have to set up all levels of the high line interference location to a new scepter. We'll do that today, position line rotation. And it's all in calculation to all levels of Bermuda Triangle. Bermuda Triangle is set up to water in continuum. Now the continuum force is to understand how it calculates and modifies all levels of the avatar, how to use the scepter interference, how to use the fluctuation line conditions, how to use your chakra system. Rotation center line interference. You have archetypes that go around your body every single day. That keeps you in the gravitational pull. That gravitational pull keeps the planetary line centers up in the absolute locations. You need something in that line system or everybody be floating in the physical line. That's why you have archetypes rotating on spin cycle, right, in calculation. So it has to send integration location to its avatar. What tracks is it in? Is high system locations of 0, or is it in 0-1 line system, or is it in 0-1, 2, 3 line rotation? In calculation, you guys have to come into your data streams. Now, in calculation modification cycles, the rotation to its position is all levels of view through tracks. Now, it's extremely complicated when you go to higher levels. As a ascendant master line center, they're in the 12 stream interference, but position locations in the three-dimensional lock line centers are in calculations of 0-1. Okay, so it's all about merging communications. It's all about understanding how to adapt to the signal. Communication is singularity, and that's what we're coming into. New technology, position location to its AI. Awareness of its information is its operation to its perception. This is how we calculate and modify all levels of ether division, right? So, how's everybody doing? I know you guys been waiting. Oh, boy. Jill, thank you for holding ground. Ryan Kai, how's it going? It's great to see new people. Larry, how's it going? Star, how's it going? Ember, how's it going? Michael, how's it going? Johnny, how's it going? Steph, how's it going? Terry, how's it going? Gypsy, how's it going? Don, how's it going? Abby, how's it going? Veronica, how's it going? Gigi, how's it going? All right, let's get started here. All levels. Lindsay, how's it going? Wow, a lot of people in. A lot of energy track centers here. Matt, how's it going? Missy, how's it going? So school is very important. Make sure you drink your water. Any questions or comments, please ask afterwards. Thank you. This is Spacetime Creator, generally I. Of course, you guys already know that anyway, so that's one good thing. So I'm just going through the channels right now, making sure everybody's in energy line centers. Pinky, how's it going? Matt, how's it going? All right. Pyra, how's it going? Teresa, how's it going? Lucy, how's it going? Christine, how's it going? All right. So everybody's coming in calculation. So as I set up the highline center, track interference location calculation, it's true to understand how everything is set up through the Bermuda Triangle. Now, to change anything through scepter is changing the avatar. So it's all about the body system and how it modifies all levels of signals. You guys have to learn how to really force communication of yourself inside, really communicate your system. So this is the calculation of the heart. This is the heart. Now, if I want to touch my heart again, it's going to be protected. So everything that I touch is going to bounce off. So it has a force field around its heart line center. So if I try to touch it, it activates my system. You understand? So it's protected through a high signal, which is calculated to identification code stream. Everything has a code stream. It's all position location to its wire. It highlights its system location to its brain patterns. It opens all levels of the I receptor interference location to its receptor. It high channels its position locations to its security barriers, security fence, security parameters, and high line center to its operation signal. It opens all channel and interference location to its calculation to its connection. It high channels its position location to its ears and high line center to its eyes. Visionary cortex line center is position locations. Your energy pods is high system location of seeing, hearing, and voicing your command system to its location to its connections. So if I want to take the fields down position locations, I can touch my heart. But if I put my protection line center to my E field line center to my heart again, it activates my body. Do you see the difference there? That's the calculations that you guys have to understand how powerful your heart is from inside line system. You really have to get inside all levels of your avatar. You have to go inside, everybody. That's the only way you can get into your avatar, because it's that inner voice. It's that it's like a high pink sound. It's like you get sonar coming in, trying to figure out what it is, right? And sometimes it gaps its interference and time travels its position vortex channel. It loops its signal location. That's two signal locations and two planet line center interference locations of disruption. You have to learn how to calculate and modify all levels of what you do through the avatar. And it's all done from inside. All right. So it's all about protecting your system locations. Right. So right now I'm extremely protected. So if I try to touch my finger point line center, it activates my face line center. It's all protection locations, knowing it's who it's connecting with through identification through voice box system line connection. It's truly understanding how to protect yourself through all levels of light, energy field, energy rotation, energy cycles. It highlights its system to its location. All right. So once we get started, you have to truly understand all levels of you through travel. Right. I'm just showing you how it's so important. Try to get into all levels of imagination. The ascendant masters can help you out, but forget that, because the calculation is all levels of them through travel. They're doing what they need to do. You do what you need to do. Focus on you and nothing else and nothing more. Questions are asked afterwards because it confuses everything of adaptation to your imagination. You have to wake up to your highlight center, which is all levels of you through space and time. Okay. So in position line center, triangle force line rotation, code signal interference line conditions, code channel line centers, Bermuda triangle, set the quartz line interference and triangle interference looking like. Now, what am I doing through my finger point line interference locations? I'm doing the same things through voice line center, but just doing finger point location to a triangle line interference. You can't see what I'm doing through calculations, but it is all line center interference, all position location, messaging line interference line condition to position. So it's trying to understand how to use your finger locations to its location line condition. That's what your fingers are. Teleportation. Same with your watch. Teleportation. Same with your lights. Teleportation. Letters, numbers, and changing symbols. Teleportation. Everything is communication teleportation. It has to, because that's what space and time is. Everything that you identify as travel. You just got to get balanced with it. That's all it is. Code signal location that cruise units, all squad one line centers, and two position line connections, everything in the GFL, the rebellion, and everything through all the center master, travel position locations, all the Bermuda Triangle. Done. You guys are in Bermuda Triangle now. Now, set in wind sectors, communication interference. We're going to go triangle force, calculation modification line connections, point dot line center triangle interference. Now, the triangle interference is all position location line connections, right? Travel line center interference, okay, blocking in signal, clocking in system line interference location, channel its position. All right, so as we lock in the stream center, we change line center rotation to its calculations, all right? Setting course is the core line center to all levels of Bermuda Triangle, all right? So truly understand what you're doing through triangulation. It's all position to its calculation. All right, so we lock in that stream interference. We come into our line center interference location. We come into the sun line interference. Sun comes in position line center. Time stream, time interference, time clocking. Right, there's the sun. Now calculation modification line conditions comes into all levels of the moon. Moon is in rotation to its position locations, time stream interference location line conditions. All right. Now we come into calculation line stream. In position locations, one in its center line in rotation to Bermuda Triangle. We set the course line center, clocking line center of its 24 line center in position location to calculation. All right. We set the high line interference location to the scepter. Now this comes into sonar interference. Set signals in position location levels to Saturn high center. Communication interference, 24 signal line center. South wind sector in communication to its position location to Bermuda Triangle. Set course line centers in position locations into high center in position location to its calculation. Right? So it's all about understanding communication of the sun and everything through modification center, line centers to the moon. Now we come into the line center locations. Now we set line center in position location of Mercury. Mercury's coming in high system locations, right? So we triangulate in its position of force line in calculation to a triangle. All right, the triangle set up position line center. Now this is how we set the scepter, communication at all levels. The avatar stream comes into all levels of its division. The chakra system is in its calculation line conditions. So we merge the teleportation line centers, computer interference. Now that computer interference comes into another dimensional lock. That dimensional lock opens all connections to its avatar system. All right, so modification line center in position locations. So Mercury, communication to the moon, communication on levels of high levels of the sun. Now that high rotates its high line interference location to calculation. It sets a new position locations to a high line center, to a tetrahedron, to an octahedron line in rotation to its calculation. All right. Now it's setting high line interference. Now the high interference is going into trial position. So it sets its signals going into high center interference, high interference to the moon in position location to its tetrahedron line connections. All position locations is triangulation. Down swinging in high rotation to Mercury. All right, calculations to its tetrahedron and octahedron line connection rotation. 3 line channels in high rotation. Now, in that modification cycle, that changes the receptor interference to the avatar stream. We set up a crop circle interference line position location line conditions. Now we merge into position line centers. Feeding source and high line centers. Electronic line center interference, elliptical channel line rotation in calculations. Course line center to new ground interference. There's a ground interference right there. Coming in calculations into the center op system. All right, see the center op? That comes into new fluctuation all line center. Calculation modification to its signals. Opens all level of track interference. Now in modification system, it all channels its rotation center. Modification to its center line interference. You have to understand how powerful it is when you're traveling. Traveling is everything through calculations. Going into levels of vector core line center. See? Now we highline its position locations. Electrical light its connections. We come into the flywheel rotation to its dimensional line interference, to its high conditions of Fibonacci. Fibonacci sequence, high line center position locations into the left wing sector communication of the moon. High position locations into all levels of the east line wing sector, communication of the sun, and high rotation to the downwind center line interference of the south line connections on the west line center of Mercury, communication interference. Now it rotates its system locations. Now that's set up to the Bermuda Triangle. The scepter is set in a new position location of travel, setting course line center locations to the eye receptor, coming into new line center of 3, 6, and 9 to new position location to triangulation. All right, setting course and high line in rotation to its position to its ground system. All position location to its calculation to center point. The center point is already in high system. It's modifying its high centers in calculations. All right, coming in communication interference. So it's coming into more of your visionary cortex lines, guys, your placebo, right? High channel its rotation to its high center to its diamond core. In high rotation to position location to a higher line center to its pyramid and activation system. Correlates its high line center, electrical light interference locations. This is where we come into the elliptical channel and interference location of pyramid activation stream. This opens all line center and connections. Now we come into all levels. Once you understand the connections to its placebo, you understand the high interference. Now we come into calculations in rotation to its calculation, right? So that's an XT1000 that's coming in line center, opening up all level position locations to a new high level channel to coloration channel, right? Coloration channel to position location turns all line center in position location. All right. I just touched the window line center interference of black line center interference line connections. That's the identification code stream, right? In position. See the Y line center, see the V vector line interference location. This is space line centers. Okay, position location is the new receptor. Line signal interference. Okay, platitude vision line center is XT1000 rotation. Clocking center line conditions of the diamond core in high rotation. Calculation modifications all levels XT1000 rotation to its position of space line. Calculation to modification cycles rotation interference. It's very powerful when you connect to these system locations. All right, so let's go into black line center in position of space in high system. Calculate all levels line centers. Now 369 pattern is in a new line rotation. Pausing communication, electrical light interference, and position locations. Coming in triangle interference. Now that triangle interference is offline center and position locations. We've got to change that back in calculations. Point system line interference. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 position line centers. So we're going to allocate the stream center in position, reset the receptor line interference, recenter line connection to ground interference, bring up communication to its vector system. Calculation modification high streams. Coming electrical light conditions going to green pattern interference. In calculation. All right. Go back down in trap interference, go back into circle locations, but go back in the ground line center, change the particle line interference, metabolic line change in position locations. High channel, its high line center coming into the levels of its diamond core interference. Now, the diamond core interference is set through high line center cross signal in position locations. So it's like a kite. Kite comes into wind cycle interference, electrical light conditions, opens all channel interference location of point line centers, 4-point line interference location line conditions, in position locations to allocated high stream. Now, as we come into the high stream interference, we come back into position location, a space line. All right, coming in high line center in position locations. Now, all about understanding what's going on through all system. Calculation modification line condition comes into all channels. Now we go back into whiteboard interference line conditions. This is where we change all receptor line interference location to 12 DNA. 12 DNA line center equals equation to all level system times square. Square line center in position locations to all level conditions coming into high system. This is merging interference line conditions to all levels of your DNA track interference. So 12 line centers in circular rotations, box line center times pi, calculation of T reception line condition all levels to its computer adaptation system. Opens all channel line interference to a new computer line screen in position line system. And high rotation to a new screen. Now the screen comes into a rainbow activations high system. We go into lacing line interference location of patterns interference location line conditions. Opens all channel line centers in position location. Travel through the box line center locations, circle and rotation line conditions, coming into the DNA track interference line conditions. Strip line center interference location line conditions. Open all channel line interference. Back force line conditions back into 12 line center in position locations. Rainbow activation line stream in high system location. All right. So it channels its position to its division. All right. Opens all track line center into 12 DNA. Its calculation to its new computer line rotation. So we line graph the high line rectangle high position location to its computer screen. It opens all division line interference. All levels in position location comes into its compass set up to its receptor to its coloration path to its 12 DNA to the physical system. One come into modification center line interference rotations, one line up in position location to its calculations. This is where we channel into all pixel activation core line centers. Now, what we do now is we set up a core line center to all of a cubical line. Now, the cubical line is all line connection to its position, right? So it's building blocks in high system line interference. So this is what we do. We overlap the stream interference location. This puts everybody in the physical line of its future connection, right? See, I'm building blocks. So the communication is already set in signal. Okay, the receptor is in high line interference. The program setting reposition location to its calculations. It's high stream and it's high center. Now, as we come into position locations, this is where we come into all levels of the ground interference, into high looping interference location and fluctuation line condition. That centers its new fluctuation. All right, so it channeled its high line center. All right, so building blocks is what it is to calculation modification. This is where we link everybody into levels. 7.5 line center building track interference times pi calculation modification times fly communications FYI calculations ASAP calculation modification center line interference physical line conditions all levels division line center fifth dimensional locations telepathy wave interference channel line interference line conditions ground interference information line and rotations calculation of stream interference line conditions boxing channel line and rotation calculation 2 its flux capacitor. Now the flux capacitor comes in a high channel position location to calculations. Back to Bermuda triangle. Bermuda triangle sets up high center line interference location line conditions in position where we started from position. Modification signals and calculations. Get into stream interference location information panel. Now, the information panel comes in all levels. Center line interference location is sun in position. Sun comes in high line interference. Now, the sun line is set up as locations. This is where we come into the channel line interference. Now, the channel line is interference position location of U, right? So what we do is we change the track line centers equals box, okay? And the box equals U. All right, so change position locations. Box comes into high line center to new box line center location to its channel. In center line position to all levels to your stomach line. Stomach line becomes an equal line center location to a teleportation light unit. That comes into high position location to a new crop circle interference. New problematic line center line interference location electrical light connection. Now that opens all channel interference locations. So you have the sun position location, you got the moon line center and rotation. Calculation new program setting, reset line center interference. Now we come into lulls, back in communication, the line center locations of blackboards. Position location is space line and position locations. Come into calculation line conditions, geometry line center, reset line interference, rainbow activation line conditions. Now all those block channels come into one signal interference location, one channel line in rotation use calculation, one box line center and calculation. Down through equation. Ooh-ah. All right, so it's all set in signal. Equals future. Okay, so it's slash graph, and the graph is all set up position location. The physical line is now in the future line rotation to its calculations. Hooah. All right, down through equation. As you guys are channeling to high line center position locations, I'm going to go back into 369 pattern, communication interference, and calculations. We've got the 369 line center. As we go into 3, we come into 6. As we come into 6, we come into 9. Calculation modification to a system. Rotated center in a high system. So it's amazing how we go through point center of 3, 6, and everything through 9. 9 is the high line center location of U, which is all levels, connections times pi, calculation, right? Sonar line center. So that's basically the 1%. 1% is U, right? So the track interference opens all line centers. So you have to know exactly what you're calculating with through high line interference, position location, line connections. It's all levels of your connections to a sonar line center of a satellite. So what is 369? A satellite. Modification signals in position line center, setting course line center interference location line connections, rainbow activity streams. Set signals at position location. All right, as it's set up in high line center, 3 position travels in here. 6 is position locations, high line center in position line center, and 9 is in location to its position, right? Sets up the disk and its high center of its dome in high line center rotation to your satellite connection. Ooh-ah. Position line center is truly saying what you're doing through connections, all right? So how are we doing through high signal? Lots of fun, isn't it? All right. It's amazing what we're coming into. Screen activated, vitals online is a stack of film. Flip, flop, flip. Yeah, Excalibur charge. So been having loads of noise that I've tennis connection line centers, just sonar coming in all of the avatar. You got to get calculation more inside. Try to get into the interline voice communications if you understand what that is. Ringing ears to its connections. Debris. Yep. All structures on point. Formation AB. Don't forget online center interference times pi calculations. All force line center location to its calculations. All right. Hear that? Codes downloaded. Great. Data delta coming in. Good. Wormhole. Tunnel sonar decoys activated. Good. Good, good, good. Codes just referencing position locations to all levels as send and masters. They know exactly what they're doing with the calculations. So it's truly understanding you through the crews and units and squads and units and all line center locations of what you're doing. Through the JFLs and turbine. What you doing? What are you doing? You're manifesting all through travel. That's all you're doing. You have to understand how powerful that is when you travel through imagination. Core lines at system location to its phenomenon. All done through equation. So, all right. It's great to see coming in high force line centers, communication all levels, scrambler, what's doing through all connections, coming in the alchemy. Yep. Fantastic. Whoosh. Yeah, this is fantastic. Okay. Make sure you drink your water, guys, especially when you're traveling.
Okay.
I got serial communication. All right, so it's truly understanding that when we travel, we have to know exactly what's going on, right? So this is where we're at right now, the calculations, right? Energy lights, plasma lights, miracle, communication cycles, imposition locations, all levels of T reception line, modification to a system, color it in through rotation. It's amazing when you see these things. It's all about understanding how you're calculating and modified all levels of U3 avatar of your T reception lines to its calculation system. Right? So that's what it is now. Right? So it's in its future line center in calculation. So Bermuda Triangle is now in a new core line center to 144. Okay? Equal line center 0, 0, 0. Right? That's where we are. All right? Right here in calculation. So it's very powerful what we just finished doing. All right? But I like to keep traveling with you guys because you get a better connections to your division, to your avatar. It's a listening voice that you understand. This has a hum. This has a hum. My finger points have a hum. This has a hum. It doesn't have to be metal based. This has a hum. Everything's energy. It doesn't matter what you pick up. Everything has energy. It has to. And another thing you have to understand that everything around energy is moving very, very fast. All right. So in reality, this isn't here. This is all separated. This is what it is through merging into anything through transformation or any of that connections. Mutating anything that's high cis-line interference. Digital frame interference location is intelligence. This is intelligence. This is a form of intelligence. This is communication of intelligence. This is the light of transformations of intelligence. This is everything to its avatar of communication. You guys have to learn how to use all this inside. That's why it's so powerful when you travel, right? So this helps you in all ways and forms. All right. So let's get back, and I'd really like to start with all of the system. Correlate line center location of 3. What is 3 equals box? What is that through calculation? What is 3 equals box? Well, you understand box is not a box. Box is all levels of its intelligence. What is equal? We already know what that is through all calculations, right? It's the next T1000 to sonar line center. See how it changed position? Oh, now it's a graph line center of a road. Oh, that's what it is now through calculations. You can travel through anything. So it's all about understanding how this is separated. It's not separated, it's connected. So all it is connecting to high line interference location to its graph interference. Now it's travel position location, it's high connections, right? To its position. See how it travels? So when it travels, it comes into a box location. See that? See how it comes together? As you come together, you can align signal and position locations and change position line centers to its calculation, right? Set a course to higher division line. Everything has to travel. Everything travels. Because that's what you're doing every single day through the mind. The mind concept, so many levels of alteration. The alter states of view. You could be in a data state, right? / state. You can be in a mecha state. Okay. You can be in a connections to all levels of a program state. Okay. These are alter states of the mind. That's just 3. There's so many variations of so many levels of travel. It blows your mind. The mind is the concept of all levels of one position location, which is all levels of you to your cloud. The expansion is unbelievable. So once you get into that, you get into more expansion. You get more into memory, more size graph interference of travel on both sides. And then it crosses signals from north, west, south, and east. Teleportation unit. There we go. Right there. So you have to truly understand how to travel. And the only way to do that is through memory. So that's what you're doing. You're using the GOD, the geometrics of you through direction to its travel, trying to get to the avatar, trying to get into the integrate location to the soul, trying to get into all process locations, how to get into the knowing of who you become. And it's all levels up here. That's stored. It's stored for you. It's memory of you. So to understand this, you need to release. So if you go into calculations, let's say you go through all levels. Let's go through a practical system of a situation. Okay, here's a door, right? There's a door right here. There's a door, right? Now the door is locked. Okay, the door is locked in the mind. Now, how do you get out? How do you get out? How do you get out? Right? Airbender, how do you get out? So it's all about the imagination. So you have to imagine that the lock is released through the mind. And this is the concept that we don't understand. Once you release the lock, the door opens, right? It's your thoughts and how you use it through its correlation to its travel position of time, of space, because that's what you're living every single day through its imagination to its simulation. Done. Now the door opens and you go through. Just showing you how powerful it is to use the mind, people. And then you just go through. You travel through. Right? Go through the imagination. Wake up to that system. See? Going through. See, you've gone through. No more lock. Right? Just because it's a lock, you have to understand how to get out of it, but it's got to be the mind of the telepathy. Because this is communication. This is a door. This is a handle. Right? So if you're trying to get out and you don't use your thought process, you're not going to get out because the mind is trying to find a way to get out. So it's all about an expansion of the mind and what you can do through exploration. And then you create something else to its position. See? And then you create something else to its position. All right? See how powerful that is, what it's coming into? See what it is? See what imagination does? And then you can travel through it. You just have to use the mind. Right? The physical system doesn't understand these things. It's the mind that knows everything through its avatar. It's all levels of space. So when you're going through that position location, it's all levels of E equals MC square. Now calculation, you guys are in mass equals volume communication interference of diamond. So mass is U of volume. Okay, mass. Okay, mass. Okay. Of nothing. All right. Is everything. Mass of nothing equals everything. That's what you guys have to understand. Mass of nothing is everything. All right. It's important you understand that. So it's all about reaching the highest vibration that you can reach. It coordinates all levels of you through GPS. So remember all levels of the intent. What is the intent? What do you want to do? Where do you want to go with your thoughts? Right? What is the will? What's the force? What is that you are creating through your travel of thought? If you're creating a shape, you have to understand what the shape is when it's given to you. It's data, information, location to its calculation. Doesn't look like much, right? But it's all levels of travel. So it knows how to travel. It knows how to communicate with other things in position, calculation, line connections. It can communicate with an equal line center. It doesn't have to be anything particular. It could be anything that connections, but you have to have a triangulation to its force line center. That's the only way you can communicate with anything. Everything has to be in a connections of attachment, right? Because anything that's detached is not traveling. Perfect example when you come into position locations of a triangle. Basic understanding is that you can't travel through this because there's a space. So you can't even set up a wall because this has to be attached. So to communicate with it, you just have to line signal it. Now you can travel through it. All position location to its calculation. It's how to get out of situations, guys. That's all this is. You have to do it through the mind. Mind is telepathy of everything through shapes, letters, numbers, and symbols. How to travel through it is another thing, right? You can change the energy graph line interference if you want to when you're traveling. You got to get communications to all levels of what you're doing through vibration. That's the only way you can travel. See, now you can travel. See? So it's all about understanding that you can set up a graph line center. See? Travel through it. And when you travel through it, you can go through the other end, right? And then you go into security. You need security because you're traveling through space. Space protects you through tunnels, right? Once you reach higher levels, you don't need security because you're already connected. So once it understands its position, anything can travel to the outline center. You can XT1000 come out, right? Checking on what you're doing, scans its position. That's what XT1000 do. They scan right into the center. So when they come into that, they go back into all levels where they need to go, right? So it's all about a checking system location to its avatar, what you're doing. Do you understand what you're doing through the mind? Do you understand the concept of the mind? Do you understand the activations of the mind? Do you understand the platitudes of the mind? Do you understand the programs of the mind? Do you understand the computers of the mind? It's like, yeah. So it's all calculation, all levels of your cloud and your expansion of the mind. That's how you calculate and modify all levels of you through space, people, and time. So, and again, it's very important to understand these things. Basic understanding is look at yourself as a cup, right? So, full glass of water, that's you for travel. And then you are inside through light to its connection. That's you. Now you set in a force line center, a force field position location, or realm, traveling through it through security line position. Now you got in calculation of travel. There you go, traveling through. Full communication of water, you and light traveling through 12 line centers. So it's very easy how you do these things. There's no thought process. Okay, the mind is the concept of knowing of what's going on through travel. Okay, so it's all about understanding the integration to its connection of its soul, its avatar, or anything else to its inner child. Because that's what the inner child is doing. It's creating geometry locations of travel of dimension to other teleportation units of higher levels. The graph interference location to its calculation is all levels of information, right? It's all through a graph. Okay, and it's all through letters, numbers, and shapes. That's what's given to platitude interference through program setting to its correlation to its computer. That's all it is. And everything is in symbol locations to its system. It's given to you. You have to understand what it is. All right? It's amazing when you understand the graph line centers of data streams. You guys are in 0-1 track and interference now. Calculation. That's all it is. That's all it is. Right? So we start with the audio signal interference. Now, if you saw contact, you understand what I'm talking about, why it's very, very important to understand the graph interference location to its vibration, to its connection. See? High signal, medium, low. So it all graphs its interference. So it's true understanding that the modification signal comes into all levels of the graph line center, right, in position location. So it's incredible how things travel. Traveling to the mind is extremely important because you understand the ground line center of the human resonance. As long as you understand the grounds, and understand the powers, and understand the atmospheres, you're doing well. That's all life is. So, and once you get the flux capacitor in position locations, once you get your chakra system, once you get your archetype system, once you get your force field position, once you get your torical field position, once you get your teleportation light center calculation, you're ready to travel. Pretty amazing, right? So I'm just showing you on so many ways and forms how you have to figure these out for yourself. It's all about you understanding how to use your travel position, location, and recognition. Try to use yourself as location as the GPS. Because the thing is that when we wake up in the morning, we really don't know what we're doing until we know what we're doing. And that's all through memory. Memory through the mind line interference of knowing who we are through calculation puts everything in point center interference location to its location. That's how we travel through our mind system of teleportation. All right. Okay. All right, so where are we here? Downloads complete. Good. Excellent. Fantastic. Teams on waste cycles and interference. Beautiful. Great to see that. Seeing is everything. And you come more position location into its avatar stream, especially when you come to more data, upgrades, downloads, and uplinking systems to your system. So anyway, I'll take you guys out. High center. Bermuda Triangle interference line conditions, interface line center, cruise units, squad line centers, 1 and 2, GFLs, rebellion. Everything with this center master line interference. Take them track interference where they began in position location, which is the future line center location integration line conditions of 0-1 traction. Done. You guys are out. Right? So everything that we do every day is travel. We travel every single day. We just have to know how to travel. That's it. That's all it is. So question or comments, let me know. Okay, we have a big day tomorrow. We're tracking the interference locations, country and line center. Set up new crop circles and inline rotation to its position. Setting up a new scepter line in a rotation, electrical lights, electrical grids, and position locations. All right. Questions or comments? I will go back on TikTok. All right. You guys have a wonderful day. Adios.